Hi, and welcome back to the Love to Mom podcast. I am your host, Jerry, and as always, I'm joined by my animated co host, Christy.
Hello, everyone. I have a bone to pick with you, Jerry. Um, when I go back and peek at the video, you fade in and I don't get to see your face when you do your hi, which is just so adorable. I wish you would show your face. That's why I laugh every time when we start because it's so cute.
Okay, I'll roll it back a little bit so that
Okay,
this time
thank
they'll be
you.
able to see.
Yes, it's so cute. And if you're watching, definitely comment and say how cute it is because it's adorable.
Well, we're starting off great so far, I think.
I'm a little punchy.
Well, as the title of the podcast suggests, we are going to be talking about the 2001 hit Studio Ghibli film Spirited Away, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. And this is our second Studio Ghibli movie that we've done on here. First one was Princess Mononoke. I think revered by some to be like Miyazaki's absolute classic, his masterpiece. You weren't so hot on it. Too gross for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, hey, let's go back. This one, you're a big Oscar nut. This one won Best Animated Feature. Was the only non-English movie before last year when Flo won to win that award. And this is definitely the classic. This is probably the most popular and famous Studio Ghibli movie for a reason. So we'll be starting off with that. And I guess, I know you hate this question, but what did you think?
I do. Oh, I loved this one.
Oh.
I loved it. And I knew from the beginning that I would. And how did I know that? Well, the animation was stellar.
Yes.
It was so bright. There was no doom and gloom in this thing as far as the style. It was very bright and had a cheerful feel. The music behind what they were doing was so fun. I laughed in numerous spots. Like there were parts where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, those little, shoot, I have to think. Oh, the soot balls is what they called them. Oh my goodness, they were so adorable. So there were times where these really adorable little creatures came out. And I always loved that. Like there was, and I liked the adventure. I liked the story.
Mm-hmm.
I liked everything about this one.
Wow.
You did a great job on this one.
Okay.
I loved it.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I was
really
a little
did.
worried. I think I was like you last week with Oh God, being like, oh, I don't know what he's gonna think about this. There were some times like when Haku like flies back and he's being chased by all those paper angels and he's like all that blood. I'm like, oh no, is this too much? Is this gonna like completely turn her off? This whole discussion gonna be about this one scene where Haku is spilling some blood out of his mouth, but that didn't bother you as much as it did in Princess Mononoke?
It wasn't my favorite, and there were definitely still some scenes that were gross, like the one with the stink monster or whatever they called it, and you could, like, it was visceral because of their reactions. You could see the fumes kind of coming off and out of the mouth, and I was like, oh, I can just imagine what that smells like. But also, that just shows the power of animation and that you could feel like you can smell it, because it was just so there were moments, but it was nothing like the eye boogers in Princess Mononoke or like or how gross that creature was. I mean, there were just so many things in that one that it was too much for me. This one, yes, there was blood coming out of the mouth, but it's not like he had this gaping wound or something that was oozing whatever. To me, this was much more manageable. And those were very short-lived. In the middle of just a burst of happiness and beauty. So that was the other part there, even though the other one also had some brightness to it. It did not have the same feel as this one. The music was not as almost Indiana Jones-ish at some points where it's like when they're in the car and they're driving and
Right.
he's like, it had like adventure music. We're driving, we're going fast. I mean, it was, anyway,
Yeah.
um, it just had a different feel. And I think that makes a big difference because if everything surrounding it is not dark and doesn't have this feel of heaviness, I feel like it makes that more tolerable for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. This is definitely one of those like feel good movies for a
Hmm.
lot of people. So I'm glad that it had that reaction for you, or that you had that
Hmm.
reaction to it. Because this is, and I'll be honest, this is one that I don't usually think of when I'm like favorite Ghibli movies. This is like, oh well, yeah, it's obviously, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
it's obviously good. It's almost not even interesting to talk about. But when I rewatched it this time, I bumped it up to 5 stars.
I happened to peek out on Letterboxd, and I noticed that because I was looking for some information. I was like, "Whoa, Jerry gave it 5 stars," and then I saw your comment, which was hilarious. So if anybody
Yeah.
wants to go out and find that, that's very funny.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really good. Jenna and I watched it together this afternoon,
oh,
so
nice.
that was fun too to have somebody to watch it with. And I'll tell you, the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, I kept making comments, and then I turned to her and I was like, "I'm not going to do this through the whole thing," but I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at how pretty this is! Listen to the music!" I just, from the very beginning, it just grabbed me.
Yeah.
There's something about it that resonates with my sensibilities
Hmm.
that I don't know. I just felt like sometimes I'll start a book and I'll be like, within the first 3 paragraphs, it's like, oh, this is something special. I'm going to love it.
Hmm.
That is how I felt about this movie because
Wow.
the style and like I said before, the colors were so vibrant, and there is nobody that does green better.
No, absolutely.
Uh, these greens are no joke, and I was just like, oh, the green again. I love the green.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I
this
loved it.
I feel like this wasn't necessarily intentional. I might have even picked this before all of the scandals have been going on with AI Ghibli stuff. Have you been seeing that?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
So I think it started, and I don't, this is not going to be a political thing, but
Hmm.
it started the White House Twitter account posted, there was like, I think it was like a transsexual drug dealer or something that was getting deported.
Mm.
Um, and that it was just like they retweeted the article saying that they were getting deported, and then they used AI Studio Ghibli stuff to be like, for some reason, like, make a picture of this person getting deported by a police officer, but have it be done in the Studio Ghibli style.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and looking at the image is very sad to me, and I think a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people, because it's like this art style. It's supposed to be like this kind world. I don't want to
Yeah.
picture this world having the same issues that we have here.
Sure.
And then a lot of other people were just like, and then like right after that, someone posted like an AI remake of the first Lord of the Rings trailer, but they did it in a Studio Ghibli style. And so then it started a greater conversation about like, you guys don't actually like know why you like this stuff. You just like the
Mm.
aesthetics of it. You don't actually like the actual meat of it. And Princess Mononoke is in IMAX right now as of us recording.
Mm. Mm.
And Studio Ghibli like made a statement about all this stuff,
Oh,
being
wow.
like, because I think it had a better opening weekend in this re-release than it did back then. Like, it is huge. And so then they said something along the lines of like, it's really great to celebrate like art that is made from artists' hands that are like hand making all of this. And like, they kind of did this whole thing. I'm not going to
Yeah.
quote it, I don't have it pulled up, but it
Yeah.
was a very clear dig at this,
Mm.
like all of the AI stuff that is like completely ripping off their style. Um,
Absolutely.
so it was not intentional. I didn't think about that when I picked Spirited Away. But as I was watching it this time, that was going through my head just being like, it is crazy that like just hacks, I guess, think that they can like like I'm an artist too. I'm going to recreate the Lord of the Rings trailer in AI with the Studio Ghibli art style, and they think that that
Wow.
means something, but you
Yeah.
watch this movie and there's so much heart into it. Like every single cell, you can tell there's like so much work, and like the background work was incredible. Like you could tell some of those like they had actual brush strokes. Like this is crazy. The
It was
amount
beautiful.
the amount of work and time that went into every single second of this is amazing. So I'm glad that you had that really visceral reaction to its art style. And I feel
Yeah,
like
just from the beginning.
that's really what stands out with Ghibli stuff too. I think they make the prettiest movies, period. So yeah, I'm glad that you resonated with this one a little more.
Yeah, I really did. Can I ask you again? Because I don't remember. What movie did you say is at the IMAX? What one?
Princess
This one?
Mononoke.
Oh, Princess Mononoke.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 20th anniversary, I believe.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
will not be seeing that
I
because it was gross enough on my TV.
I will also not be seeing it, but that is just because I just watched it, so I
Oh,
don't really
yeah.
need to see it
Sure.
again.
Sure.
But otherwise, I would. That would
Do you,
honestly seeing it in IMAX would be amazing.
oh, I would go see this in a second in
Oh, this
IMAX.
one,
So
yeah, yeah.
this one is 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So next year will be its 25th anniversary. So maybe next year they'll re-release.
Probably.
I'm going to see a movie this week. Do you want to guess what I'm going to see? This
Is
is off topic, but I'm still going to say it.
is it a new movie?
Yep.
What is even out? Are you seeing Dog Man?
No,
I don't know. What are you
those
seeing?
are good books, though. That'll be good. It'll draw some more. Well, every kid knows about those. Those are super popular. I'm going to see the Minecraft movie
Oh. Oh man, that's unfortunate. Why are you seeing that?
because Jenna wants to see it.
Oh,
So Jenna's going, and I'm taking Gabe too. The three of us are going to go see the Minecraft movie.
well, that sounds like a
It's
blast.
amazing. I know nothing about Minecraft. I've never played Minecraft ever in my life. I know nothing about the lore. I know exactly what it looks like, but that's all I know. So this will be fun.
Uh, I don't know if fun is the word that I would use. It looks absolutely terrible.
Oh,
And
well,
I've been seeing that kids have been rambunctious in the theaters.
oh,
To the point, I saw there was a clip today of like, there was like one line that was memed in the trailer where he's like, what is it? I, now I can't even remember what they're called. There's like a zombie and a chicken. And
oh,
he's like, it's a chicken rider. And that got memed on the trailer. And so when that moment happened in the movie, like people like threw whole buckets of popcorn at the screen. And
oh
like
my
cops
gosh.
cops had to get called, and like they took some of these teens away for something.
Well, we're going to a 6 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I think we'll be all right.
It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
we purposefully did not go on a weekend because
Oh
we were
yeah.
like, that would be Bananaramas. We don't want to do that. So we're doing Tuesday night. Okay, so that was totally off topic. But we were talking about what was out at the theater, and I wanted to share that I'm going to the movies. Okay.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
getting back on track.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess we can talk a little bit about the story. And I think what's interesting about this story is that it's essentially Alice in Wonderland. I think there's a bunch of different stories that do that formula. I actually don't really like Alice in Wonderland. I've read the original book, and none of the movies have really done it for me. I'm like, that's weird. Everything's weird. I mean, it's definitely like made for Tim Burton, so it totally made sense for him
Yeah.
to do one of those. But like that whole world, everything is like, there's like this evil, this dark seed that's under it. And I'm like, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason that never clicks for me.
Yeah.
But if something like this or Over the Garden Wall is another example that I use, there is just like this really warm beating heart in the center of it that's like basically hard to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't that like evil. I mean, I guess there is literally an Over the Garden Wall, but everybody,
Yeah.
all of the supporting characters are like they're just nice and they're just like
Mm-hmm.
quirky and fun to watch, but they aren't like malicious necessarily.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
where it feels like everyone in Alice in Wonderland is trying to like screw over Alice in some way, which I don't totally like. But this also is kind of like that, where she's in this wonderland, the spirit world, and then she basically has these like chance encounters with different characters at different times. And then at the end, they all kind of come together and it becomes a giant climax of all the characters that we know and love that we've had these little encounters with throughout the movie.
Yes.
So it's not like an entirely unique or original idea, but it works really, really well here in that, it's a bathhouse for the spirit world. So you have all these like unique spirits kind of coming in, all of these like authentic Japanese mythological creatures, which I think is very cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think one of the parts that really stands out to me is that, a lot of animated movies that we watch, maybe growing up, we're so used to having some sort of like East or not Eastern, like a Western sensibilities. Anything spiritual is seen through the lens of Christianity or Abrahamic religions in general. And so like that's how art is presented. But in Japan, and these things, their spiritual beliefs are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And so something like this is so foreign to me, and I'm sure you,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like this is like completely out of our our culture here, but it's so much fun to learn. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that too, where it's just like everyone is just so there's so much love in this.
Yeah, and I
It's
think you don't have to know all that stuff. Like I felt like I did read somewhere where they were saying, they knew that Westerners would not know what a bathhouse was. So that
wow.
line was added
Yeah.
so that we would know what exactly was happening because that is not something we're familiar with,
That's true.
where it would be recognizable. But also, like, I didn't even know that those were actual uh, deities. I'm
Yeah.
watching the story just with fresh eyes. And so the fact that you can watch it and not have any idea about that and still follow the story and understand what's happening. And granted, you probably would get more out of it if you knew all of that stuff. But even without it, I thought it was great. I also want to say something really quick about Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
Um, my mom hated Alice in Wonderland, and so I have never seen it or
Oh.
read the book.
Oh.
Which means that you guys never saw it or
No,
when you
not
were
as a
little.
kid.
Yeah, so I am not at all familiar with it. I just remember my mom really hated it, so I just never watched it. But I know enough about it from, just it being
Osmosis.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, being around. The general idea of going into some doorway into this magical world and
Right.
whatever. So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think why that story is like it's so easy to copy, or I guess it's so unique, it has a very distinct style to it, is because
Hmm.
of the way that it was written, where it wasn't written as like, I'm going to write a book. It was like,
Mm,
I'm pretty sure the author of that was just like telling his daughter he
mm,
was like watching children. I don't know if it was his or if it was like a family member's or whatever. But they would like go on these walks to a park, and then while they were at the park, this guy was essentially just kind of like riffing. Oh,
mm,
wouldn't it be crazy if Alice ran into a cat that can turn invisible, or a big
mm,
old Queen of Hearts and card henchman, and then like he would go back home and then like write that down as like a chapter. So like I don't
hmm.
know if he even knew where it was going.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting.
it is. The only reason
Hmm.
I took a comedy and literature class, and so we learned about that. That's why I read it. Um, and the book is
That was
fine.
going to be my next question. I was like, what brought that about?
That
Okay.
was for class. I would not read that
Yeah.
otherwise.
No.
But I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
So
That's cool.
that's why I think that story structure is so unique, and why so many
Mm.
people rip it off, but better in my opinion. because they're actually
Mm-hmm.
kind of setting out like we're going to do the Alice in Wonderland thing, but we have a set goal in mind and everything is going to be building to this.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure Alice in Wonderland adaptations do that too. But I don't know. I just like the spin-offs, I guess, more
Mm-hmm.
than the original.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I thought that was a big sigh. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think uh, I know that there are many themes that we could talk about,
Hmm.
uh, and I know that environmentalism, the way that we treat the planet, is always a big theme in in is it Miyazaki's work? Did I
Miyazaki.
say that? Miyazaki. I need to write that down so that I don't mispronounce it the whole time. Miyazaki. But one of the things that I really liked and that I noticed was, okay, you know what? I wrote down their names and all the characters' names because I was like, I know I'm going to struggle with this. And I just realized I minimized it. So I am
Oh,
just going to pull that up so that I can actually see it. So that
yeah.
might be kind of helpful.
I have the IMDb
Um,
pulled up on another monitor.
that's smart. Yep, that's smart. Okay, so I'm just gonna call her Sen. I know that that's the name that was given later, but
Mhm.
it's just easier to say
It is.
and easier for me to remember. Um, okay, so Sen. Sen at the beginning of this movie was really annoying, and what I
She's a
who
kid.
she do you know who she reminded me of was Caillou.
Oh,
Um,
that's an
there
interesting
was
poll.
a whiny that was I was like, oh my goodness. But I know that that was very purposeful. And
Hmm.
so that was one of the main themes that I picked up on as I was watching the movie was her growth of character throughout.
Yeah.
You know, the parents are like, she's laying in the back seat and she's all, oh, woe is me. Everything's terrible. I hate life. And I just got my flowers. And it's the first time I've ever gotten flower. I mean,
Uh-huh.
all of this, right? And then she's too afraid to walk into the building and she's clinging to her mom like this fear and
Yeah,
the
it's a big theme.
anxiety and the sadness, all of that kind of stuff. Kind of I don't know that we know how old this character is. Do we know how old this character is? I don't remember
I don't know if
hearing.
it's explicitly said. I would say
Yeah.
9 or 10 around
Yeah.
there.
Um so so I'm watching it and I'm looking at this girl who is nearly paralyzed with anxiety and also just like very Caillou like. The voice was very Caillou like. And then we're watching as we're going through the movie, and there specifically was a point. I actually did write this down.
Oh.
Um, one of the characters said, "Let's see, that she's a lazy, stupid crybaby."
Oh, was it Lynn?
um, why should you, Baba, give her a job? Because because she took an oath to give a job to anyone who asks.
Oh.
So Yubaba was like, why would I give you a job? You're whiny, or you're a stupid, lazy, stupid crybaby. Um, but she has to because she had taken an oath that she had to give a job to anyone who asks.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it was pointed out at the very beginning, like we
Oh
are
yeah.
acknowledging that this child is a handful at the moment. But then you watch her as this film goes on and she has no choice but to take agency for herself.
Yes.
She has no parents to rely on. Her a friend Haku is not always around. Lynn's not always around. So there's a lot of times where she has to exercise some agency for herself and to be brave and courageous.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the end of that movie, this character has like really come into herself. I kind of wonder, we don't get a whole lot with her and her parents once they're reunited, but I think they're going to have to see this amazing difference in their daughter and the way that she is approaching life after having, gone through an experience like this and made some really difficult decisions
Yeah.
and made some decisions that were very self-sacrificing. And I,
Hmm.
I don't know, for me, that was the biggest thing I noticed. I know that there are environmental issues as well, but for me, it was watching the character development, of this girl who starts out weak and whiny, and at the end is a strong girl who like takes people, like she takes the, what is it, no face spirit
Yeah.
or
No face.
no face, and like even though no face was not being the best, it's like, come on, I'll bring you with me, I'll sacrifice and you can come with me on the train and we're gonna, so anyway, that's one of the things I really appreciated was watching how hardship grew this character into a character that you would not recognize at the beginning of the movie, and that she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
She's going to go to this school and it's going to be just fine, because if she can go through all of this, she can definitely go to a new school and make friends. And anyway,
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I mean, I think that fear and courage is probably the main theme of this movie. And like that opening you described where Sen is whiny and like, oh, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go in there. I think that's all fear. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that is like she's scared because she's going to a new school. She doesn't know
Yeah.
anybody. She clearly knew and liked a lot of people back at her old place. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
flowers are there for. And sorry, I'm thinking about this as like a screenwriter.
Yes.
But like all that like completely sets up the fact that like a big part of this is that she is confronting fears.
Yep.
And I think for every single kid, probably the main fear is being alone or being without a parent. So like right away, that's the first thing that happens. She gets her parents taken away, and now all of a sudden it's her responsibility to save them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's a huge weight to put on a kid. And that's like why Haku shows up. And why that's so important is that like he shows up and he takes the reins for just a second. He's like, follow me,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna do it. She messes up and he's like, it's okay. It's all good. It all, mistakes happen. Here's
Mm-hmm.
what you do. Okay, see ya. And then she has to like go, and that's it. And then for like basically the rest of the movie, she's
Mm-hmm.
like she follows Lin around and she kind of does what Haku told her to do, but then like she's basically given free agency to make all those choices. And repeatedly we get the sense that she has a good head on her shoulders. She's just has a hard time getting over that fear. And I think that's kind of what the whole movie's about.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that goes on. She comes back home. The closing line of the movie is like, I forget what the dad asked. He's like, yeah, it's a lot. We're moving. You're going to be going to
Mm-hmm.
a new school. Are you sure you're going to be able to handle it? And she's like, yeah, I think I can. And like that is like so important because you remember what she was like at the beginning. But now
Yes.
this huge transformation, all of these choices that she's made has turned her into a brave and courageous person, which
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's what this is for. And for like a movie, I mean, it's clearly aimed like towards a younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's such an important lesson, um, especially because it doesn't necessarily treat fear as a bad thing or
Mm-hmm.
something to be like kind of shamed out of. I think that's kind of a pitfall that a lot of like media, but also like parenting falls into, where it's like, oh, my kid is crying. I just need them to shut up. And it's like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to get to the root of this. Like, this is a human person that is experiencing fear and doesn't know how to express it yet. And there's like the scene that I absolutely love when Haku takes Sen to see her parents for the first time, and then he just like lets her cry, and they sit
Mm-hmm.
there for like a couple minutes, and like that feels like to me Miyazaki saying it's okay to be afraid, it's okay to feel those feelings, but when the time comes, you need to be brave and make those decisions to help you and the other people around you. And I just love that. I love that
Yeah.
message. It's so nice, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just so perfect. It's like perfectly executed too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine changing a thing about the story of this movie.
No, I now you're making me feel bad about the fact that I called her whiny, but her voice was really whiny. It drove me crazy. But I almost feel like that, well, I do. I feel like that was purposeful.
Oh
Even
yeah,
the tone of voice that was being used. There's, I don't know. It's like I have PTSD over Caillou. Maybe that's my problem.
maybe.
Anyway, um, the thing that I loved too at the end of the movie, and they said it a few times, where they were talking about the fact that
Haku.
she loves Haku, and that's what makes her brave. Um,
Yeah.
and that you are willing to do hard things for people that you love, you sacrifice and you push through hard things. And I think that's also true. You know, they talked about that a little bit with her parents as well. And there were multiple characters who did, who specifically mentioned love
Hmm.
and how, um, you know, sometimes love will make us brave because we're being brave for someone we care about, more
Hmm.
so even than maybe being brave for ourselves. And I think about that as a parent. Um, like it, sometimes when we would travel and we would go somewhere that was new and I didn't know what we were doing and your dad didn't know what he was doing and you guys had no clue, you and your sister, but it was like, well, somebody here has to hold it together and like act like we know what we're doing.
Right.
And so you do that as a parent because it's like, well, I need my kids to feel secure. So I need to put on a brave face. And even though I'm unsure about what's happening right now, because my kids are with me, I will do that and I will be brave and I won't be nervous or whatever. That is something that I often recognized, especially I feel like traveling is really the big time. Or like if we're going to a setting that you know we'd never been to, or like a doctor's appointment, and I'm nervous. I can't be like, oh, you know, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I can't do that. I have to be brave for you guys so that
Yeah.
you don't feel scared. And so I think, especially as a parent, that's where I have felt that. But I also recognize that that's just a universal truth. Like
Hmm.
you do hard things for the people that you love. And so, and if that means making difficult decisions, if that means being strong in a situation where you don't particularly feel it in your bones, but you know you need to be, I just think it's a really, really good message
Oh yeah.
that, you know, that we can all do difficult things and
Hmm.
love is a big motivator for that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I really love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good. I
Hmm.
think it's going to be tough to talk about this theme and not talk about Miyazaki's early life.
Mm.
I think I may have alluded to this in Princess Mononoke, but that is maybe the movie that this aspect of his childhood applies the least to.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so many people know Miyazaki's dad ran a airplane machinery uh, factory, some sort of you know plant that was making planes right after World War II. So I think Miyazaki, I think he's born 44,
Mm.
41. Okay, so 1941. Um, his memories of his childhood are essentially war torn cities.
Mm.
Um, but he was very close to his mom, not so much with his dad. His mom is Yoshiko Miyazaki. She
Hmm.
was diagnosed with spinal tuberculosis when Miyazaki was 4 years old. So after that, and dad was busy working, she was in the hospital for 2 years. So all the kids had to take up all of the like domestic duties. They had to clean the house. They had to grow up really fast. And so that was something that Miyazaki had to learn to do as a kid, but he was very close to his mom, and his mom is a big inspiration on his work. Most of his movies have female protagonists, um, and a lot of them are kind of self inserts for his mom. A lot of the values that his mom held dear, he likes to install those onto his protagonists. And so Sen, to me, is that idea of putting on a brave face. When
Mm.
Miyazaki was visiting her in the hospital, and you know, things were bad. You know,
Hmm.
tuberculosis is no joke. I think they uh, told her that like she had. Well, let me see. Uh, I guess okay. I guess that this page doesn't have it listed, but they didn't think that she was going to live very long. She ended up
Mm.
living 72 years, died in
Wow.
83. So she lived way past what everyone thought. But you know, as things were going bad, she still took time and like was very kind. Like that kindness that I think is so ubiquitous with like Studio Ghibli stuff comes from her.
Mm.
And like using that as like a weapon. Your kindness is the strongest weapon that you have at any point. You know, uh, all of the bad guys in the movies will use all their powers or actual weapons in the case of Princess Mononoke, but actually just like talking to people and uniting them and trying to fix problems is what actually gets to the root of it, not actually just wielding power. And that's kind of what happens here too. There's like this huge hierarchy of like everything going on in this bathhouse, and Yubaba's like this dictator. But by the end of it, Yubaba's kind of softened up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yes.
and I love that too. It shows that
Mm.
like, everybody is capable of being redeemed, given the
Mm.
right circumstances. Maybe they just, you know, the bad circumstances happen too long, turn them into a jaded and evil person. But there's light in there. We just have to find it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I love about these
I love
movies.
that there was like the twin sister.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that character a lot. I thought that was really interesting to see. Like as soon as you're pulling up on this house, you are like we'd seen all the opulence and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I mean that the animation around that building was so phenomenal. I just was, it was so like, I'm thinking of the big vases that are, or some sort of pottery that's kind of lining the walls, and you can see the decorations and stuff. It was so gorgeous. And she's sitting there, she's got all the rings on, and
Yeah.
she's very over the top. I love it. And the colors were so vivid and stuff. I loved that. But I think I had written down something in here. What's her name? Zaniba.
Yeah.
Zaniba. Yeah, she's like teaching the baby how to knit, and she called her sister Tacky, which I just thought was funny. I don't know. I really liked that character, and it was interesting that they decided to make her a twin, just
Yeah.
because you're seeing that exact same face. And it almost makes you feel like, oh, there's a possibility for redemption. We have
Mhm.
this person who looks exactly like our other character, who's not maybe going the right way at the moment. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting choice. I really loved the person that does the voice for both of those characters. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up really quickly. Her name is Suzanne Plachette. And Suzanne Plachette was on the show Bob Newhart back in the
Oh,
70s.
nice.
And that's what I knew her from. I was like, before I even start this movie, I'm going to go out and look at who's doing voices, because if I don't know ahead of time, it drives me crazy if I don't know.
Yeah.
So I went out to look, and I looked at her, and I realized that this is just the English dubbed version, but
Mhm.
dang, if she does not have a resemblance to that character, you should look her up real quick. Especially as an older woman, there are some pictures of her with the blue eyeshadow. And I mean, so obviously they didn't pick her and base their animation on her because she's just dubbing, but
Right.
there definitely is
Oh yeah,
a
I can see
resemblance.
it.
Isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah.
And she has that smoker voice. She has this low, sultry smoker voice. Anyway, I really enjoyed that because I was like, oh my goodness, she kind of even looks like this character, which
Yeah.
was very enjoyable. But I hadn't seen her since Newhart in the 70s. She never
Mhm.
really, that I know of, did a whole lot after that. She was very much in very popular. She was Emmy nominated,
Oh.
like that show was incredibly popular, and she played his wife. So she was a
Oh.
central character on the show. Um, but I don't remember seeing her in a whole lot. They did say this was her last movie, and that
Oh.
she died at the age of 72. So she wasn't very old.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, it was fun to hear her name because I just hadn't thought about her in decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so then I went out and looked at her, and I was showing Jenna. I was like, "Look at her! She looks like this character." I kind of tickled me, but I thought her voice was perfect. I
Oh,
really,
it
I
really
really enjoyed
is.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went and looked at the IMDb because I'm like, she has to have played some like Disney villain back in the
Mm.
day, but no. Uh,
Mm-mm.
she was on Newhart. She was in The Birds
Yeah.
too.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
she would have been young in that one.
yeah. Yeah, she was in
Yeah,
like
because
the old Alfred Hitchcock Presents too, like way
oh,
back.
nice. Oh,
Yeah.
she was beautiful. Like I was looking at the pictures of her when she was young, which I'd never seen her. I mean, she's not someone that is ever front of mind. Newhart
Sure.
was on in the background when I was a kid, or the Bob Newhart show. That was the older one. Newhart was in the 80s. That's the one I'm more familiar with.
Oh,
The
sure.
one in the 70s, I remember seeing clips of, and I recognized the people, but I was too young to be interested in it.
Sure.
But I knew her name, and she wasn't really someone that I had thought much about. So going out and looking at the pictures of her when she was young, I was like, oh my goodness, she was so pretty.
Yeah.
She was a pretty woman. Yeah. I just remember you saying the last time we watched a Studio Ghibli movie that they always get really good talent to do the dubbing. And so
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons I went out ahead of time as well, because I knew there would be voices that I would recognize and that it would drive me crazy.
Yes.
Um,
There's not as many
so
in this one. This one,
no, there wasn't.
but I think this one is relatively early. This is like the
Hmm.
first one that really made it big in the States. But speaking of cast, did you see that John Ratzenberger is in this movie?
No.
Yeah, he plays the foreman. Or no, he plays assistant manager is what he's credited as in IMDb.
Okay.
It's just like a little Pixar part. They just put him in there for like
Yep.
one line. But
Hmm.
I bet you didn't notice the English dub was executive produced by John Lasseter.
This I did know. Why? Because I was doing a little bit of a deep dive on that and I did see that. And
Yeah.
I love that he did that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's something about, they had said something about the fact that in Toy Story, there's something that is tied together with Toy Story, a
Oh,
visual.
really?
Like one of the toys is something from this movie or something.
Interesting.
We'll have to go. I forgot to write that down. But yeah, there is something that he put in Toy Story that references back to this. It must have been one of the later Toy Stories
Yeah,
because
it must have been
The original
3.
one was what, 2000, 1999, something
I
like
think
that?
the first one came out in like 97.
Did it really?
I think
Oh my
so.
goodness.
Let me
Okay.
see. Toy Story 1 came out, 95.
Whoa. No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I never would have guessed that.
And then Toy Story 2 was in 99.
Hmm.
And then Toy Story 3 was in 2010. So it must have
Well,
been in the third one.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Get it ready for recollection correction corner
Yeah, I'm
next
going to
week.
write it down. I'm going to write it down. I will give you more information
Okay.
about that at a future time. So, yes, the only reason I knew is because I did a deep dive on some of that background stuff. Otherwise, I would have had no idea.
Yeah.
But I did like that tie. I thought that was fun.
I think that's like why it kind of like blew up. I think at this point my chronology of Miyazaki movies is a little hazy. I know
Yeah.
Totoro came out before this, and I'm pretty sure that
Mm.
Nausicaa came out before this.
Mhm.
I don't think Nausicaa really made it big here. That one's definitely like one of their least liked ones. I don't really like that
Mm.
one either.
I've never even heard of that one.
It's his, well, it's not his first movie. I think it might be the first Ghibli movie, the first movie released under that name.
Okay.
His first movie is Lupin the Third and the Castle of Cagliostro, which you probably have no idea what Lupin the Third is. It's a big
Nope.
thing everywhere else.
Oh.
It was a manga series in Japan. There's a spy book from the early 1900s that's French. That's
Mhm.
called frick, what's it called? It's Lupin de Font. It's something French, but it starts with Lupin.
Mhm.
Then 40 years later, some dude made a manga where it's like, wouldn't it be funny if that guy had like a great grandson and he's Japanese and he does all sorts of fun spy things? That'll be fun. And so then that was a manga. They turned it into an anime. That was the first thing that Miyazaki directed, were some episodes of that initial anime series. And then when the movie was getting ready to be made, It was Miyazaki and his animating partner at the time that made that movie. And they even like drew themselves in as little cameos in a couple of the frames of that
Aw.
movie. I've heard that it's very good, but I've never seen
Mhm.
it. And I don't know if it has an English translation. But
Mm.
that is like uh it's very like highly regarded. And like that one did make it to the States a little bit. Even though
Mm.
there was no English dub, there wasn't even subs,
Wow.
but people
Oh my
still
goodness.
watched it and loved it. I'm pretty sure Steven Spielberg was a big fan of that movie,
Hmm.
and Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy said something to the effect that she would just throw it on for her kids because her kids loved it so much they couldn't even understand what was going on. They just loved the animation and loved the action.
Hmm.
So I've heard that it might be a contender for maybe best debut directing like ever, like maybe one of
Oh,
the best debut films. Like I've heard it's that good, but
wow. Well, it sounds like you need to get your hands on that to
I
watch it.
yeah, I don't know how readily available it is.
Mm.
But Lupin the Third is still a thing. They're still making animes and mangas. I think they had a
Hmm.
movie come out a couple years ago. So it's still very much a thing. Just nobody here knows about it, but it's big in
Mm-mm.
Japan and it's huge in Europe. Really big. They're like in Paris. I'm pretty sure there's like restaurants named after characters
Hmm.
of that movie or of that franchise. Like it is such a huge international thing that we just do not get. So
Yeah.
I wonder if John Lasseter saw that movie and was like,
Hmm.
this needs to be kind of brought over here. Because I'm pretty sure that he's a big reason for why this movie was marketed over here at all.
Hmm.
So it's kind of
Oh, wow.
interesting.
Oh, that is very interesting. And I'm going to do a little bit of a dive on that just because
I don't know. This is
I
all
think that's
stuff.
interesting.
This is
All
all stuff I've.
speculation.
Well, no, it's not all speculation. It's just stuff
Oh,
I've heard a long time ago.
yeah.
So I don't
Sure.
know if I know all the details exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It'll be interesting to look into it and see the story on it. While we're talking about box office and that sort of stuff, let me go really quickly over some of the details on this movie. The budget for this one was $19 million,
okay,
and that's estimated. So this is what's going to kill you. Okay, so we're going to do a guessing game. So
okay.
the budget's 19 million. I would like to know how much you think it made during its opening weekend in the
Oh,
United States and Canada. So this is September
oh,
22nd of 2002 is when it was opening
okay,
in the US and Canada. What's a guess? What's your guess?
okay. And this is just so it's just domestic.
Just domestic and just opening weekend. I
Oh,
mean, I don't even know what a good opening weekend is, but this doesn't,
I know what a
well,
good opening weekend is right now. I don't know if I could tell
well,
you what a good opening weekend was 20 years ago.
what's a good opening weekend right now?
I would say for a budget of that, I would say mm, 9-10 million would be pretty good.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the financials, but I
sure.
think what 19. I'm gonna say, was it even that big? You've really raised an interesting question here.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm gonna go 12 million.
Okay, opening weekend, US and Canada,
Oh,
$449,000.
oh, oh
Yeah,
no,
shocking.
that's
Shocking.
bad.
By the time it was done running here in the States and Canada, their gross was 15 million.
Okay, but that's
So
just
started
here.
incredibly small. Yes. Now worldwide, this will blow your mind. Budget 19 million.
Uh,
The gross worldwide was almost $360 million.
wow,
Yeah. So 19 million for a budget, and they make 360, almost 360 million.
that's crazy.
But the opening weekend, $450,000.
That's
I
like
mean,
nothing.
the scope of that, like to think in the States, nobody knew about it.
Yeah,
It just seems like it was nothing, 450,000. And then by the time it's done, 15 million. How does that happen? That's like crazy. That was so surprising to me,
that was
that jump.
I wonder, well, would that take into account? Because I'm sure that they did some sort of theatrical re-release once it won
Mm. Oh
animated
no, that's
feature. I wonder, I
that
mean,
could be.
and they even still screen it. Every
Hmm.
year, most theaters will have a Ghibli Fest where once a month they will do a different Ghibli movie. I wonder if that is taken into account because I know like when they re-released
Mm,
Avatar, it was able to overtake Endgame as the number
that's right.
one grossing movie. So would all of the stuff way after the release also count? Maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's a good question. Yeah, I just am like, I don't understand how that happens.
I don't either.
It's crazy. Let me give you a couple other just little things about the Academy Awards because you know I'm a nerd about that.
Yeah.
You had already mentioned that. You had mentioned that for. I think the fact that you had mentioned was not any of the ones I have written down here. So let me give you the ones I have.
Okay.
That this is the first anime film to be nominated for and win an Academy Award. So also the first
Wow.
nominated.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting. It's also the first animated film not produced by Disney or DreamWorks to win an Academy Award.
Wow.
It is the only non-English, it was the only non-English language film to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature until 2024 with Flow.
Hmm.
Or no. It was The Boy and the Heron, but that was also directed by Miyazaki.
That's so good. We'll watch
Yeah.
that one eventually.
Yeah. So that is my Oscars trivia for this movie. I mean, it's truly like changing. This movie opened up the world of animation when it comes to the Academy
Yeah.
to an entirely new genre of animation. I think that's really something. I love
Oh
that.
yeah.
I think it's great that that this one was the one because
It's perfect.
I liked it so much.
It's so good.
I'm glad
Yes.
it wasn't the eye booger one.
I hope that we don't like get a bunch of viewers down the line. We blow
Sorry.
up because that's like that's your hottest take you've ever maybe said on this show. It's, it's like
I
people
know.
love that movie. I
I know
said
they
that it's
do.
in IMAX and it's like the biggest opening weekend.
I know. I'm sorry, everyone. Don't send me hate notes.
uh,
I can't with the eye boogers. That was the thing. I just couldn't do it. I did see some things about the stink monster this time and talking about how that is specifically related to the environment and
oh,
the
sure.
things
Yeah.
that were coming out of that monster, as in the bicycle
It's
and
all
that
trash.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looked like oil barrels and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I loved the soot balls. I loved them so much.
They're a recurring thing.
They are amazing. I loved them. I loved when the baby turned into a mouse and then just his little face. He was so cute. And then he was riding on her shoulder, and then the flies, like, yeah. Oh, I loved that whole thing. It was those little things, those characters that just brought me so much joy.
Hmm.
The animation on those, the facial expressions that we got, um, the sense of humor. I love the part at the beginning where she's picking up the rock for that because that one
Oh,
accidentally got
yeah.
smushed. So she picks it up. She's carrying it, and it's so heavy. And she gets it in the oven, and she turns around, and all of them just let them drop so that they don't have to do it. I was like, oh gosh, that's so funny. Oh, there were so many things like that where I was like, this is just the cutest. It
Yeah.
almost kind of felt like a little Tom and Jerry-ish, like
Mm.
some of the visual slapstick sort of
Yeah.
stuff. I really enjoyed that. It it just brought some fun levity, and it truly was laughing. Like I laughed out loud. Sometimes I'll watch something and I'll be like hee hee, but that was like, oh my gosh, when they did that and all of them in unison dropped those rocks on themselves. I was like, this is fantastic. I love it so much.
I love that.
I loved the Boiler Man.
Oh, yeah.
And that, you know, we were talking about her and her courage. She walks into that room, and at first you're only seeing two arms. And then all of a sudden you're seeing that third arm, and you're like, whoa. And then all of these arms. And
Uh,
he is a delightful being. And that's like the first time we're seeing her really exercise that courage and the true
mhm.
like understanding that this is not like home. But she had to go talk to him. That was, oh, I need to tell you a side story really quickly. This makes
Okay.
me think of something. It's a library story. Um, every year we do a summer reading program for kids, and we have challenges that kids can do that earn them extra entries for prizes.
Mm.
And one of the challenges that we have is that we ask the kids to come and talk to one of the front desk staff members to ask for the secret word for the
Mm.
summer. And the first year I was working the front desk, that was the first year they had done it. And we had this sweet family that came in, and it was a mom and her three little girls, and her middle little girl. Oh, she reminded me so much of Jenna. She was very shy and very quiet, and she did not want to talk to the people at the front desk. It was so scary to her. And her mom would be like, okay, you remember we talked about this? Like, I'm hearing her interact with her daughter. Okay, remember we talked about this. Remember how we're going to ask, and we're going to walk up and we're going to speak with our voice kind of louder so they can hear us. And so she walks up to the desk, and she's probably, I don't know, 3 or 4, not in kindergarten yet. She's adorable, little blonde hair, blue-eyed thing, just big blue eyes looking up at me, scared out of her mind. And mom says, "We've been working on this at home. So she wants to ask you. So don't give her the word until she asks you, so that we know not to jump in, because sometimes we want to rescue. If somebody comes in and we can see they're having a hard time, we want to rescue them, but really what's going to build that character is actually doing it.
Yeah.
So she comes up, she's standing there, she's looking at me. I could see her just trying so hard. And then tears start coming out of her sweet little eyes, and she can't do it. She can't do it. And she turns around to her mom, and her mom's like, "It's okay. We're just going to try again tomorrow." So she brings her back again the next day. And I'm like, you know what? This is number one, fantastic parenting.
Yeah.
Number two, I told our children's librarian, you have to do that every year, because that skill is important.
Mhm.
And I watched this family, and the next day she came in and she couldn't do it. And I think it was like day 4 that I saw her come in, and she was finally able to do it. And I was so proud of her, and I made such a big deal about it, because I was like, I watched her wrestle with herself and try. She wanted so badly to get it. And so I tell our children's librarian every year, please do that every single year, because this is such an important thing.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity for parents to be able to walk alongside their kids and like get them used to talking to people. That's part of what it's like to be in the world. And so every year, and the best part, our code word this year is Pac-Man, which is like so near and dear to my heart. I love Pac-Man. So anyway, that's what this made me think of, this scene specifically. And
Yeah.
also when she has to talk to Yubaba, and she's like, she has to ask for a job and she doesn't want to. And this person is intimidating and I'm scared. But you have to do it.
Mhm.
And it is part of that growth and part of that learning to be brave. I remember going through that with you guys too, like
Yeah.
making you order for yourselves. And it was so hard for you guys, but I was like, gosh, if you don't do it now, you're never going to get it.
Right.
So I loved that. That part really resonated with me, and it made me think of that sweet family. And I still see that little girl, and she's, I don't know, older now, 7, 8. And it's like, oh, I remember you crying at the desk. I never say anything, but every time I see her, my heart breaks a little bit, because I just loved her so much. She looked so much like your sister. It was adorable. Oh,
Oh, that's
anyway,
great.
that I felt like um, those instances in this movie where we are seeing her have the opportunity to push through and be brave, like everyone can resonate with that. We have to do that as adults all the time, and we think things will get easier, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes when you get older, there are still hard things that make me feel like that inside. but then you have the life experience behind you to know, I've done this in the past, I can do it again. We're looking at a little girl here who's doing this for the first time. And it's scary, and yet she does it, and she
Hmm.
knows that she has no choice. She has no parents. She has nobody that she can depend on fully.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I really loved the messages of this. I thought it was, as always, very, very beautifully animated. Like, it was stunning. There were scenes in this, again, greens and blues, but greens especially. I've never seen greens like that
Hmm.
in animation. The other thing I wanted to say is the 3 movies that I've seen of Miyazaki all have pigs. What is the story with that? Porco Rosso,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
um, Princess
Pigs. The
Princess
hogs.
Mononoke,
Yeah.
the hogs, and then in this one, her parents are turned into pigs. I'm like, is this a whole recurring thing, or does it just happen to be that the 3 that I've seen all have pigs in them?
I don't know. I think pigs are just kind of a motif that he likes.
Yeah.
Also frog people, something
Mm.
even if they aren't like explicitly frog people like they are, people
Mm-hmm.
having that like face shape
Mm. Mm-hmm.
is all over the place.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
true.
like the Yubaba face, like with a big
Mm.
nose, big wrinkly old face, that's all over the place too.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, that is weird that
Uh-huh.
they all have pigs. I never noticed that.
Yes. When I saw the parents turn into pigs, I'm like, pigs again? What's going on? What is up with the pigs? I tried to find stuff. I couldn't really find anything
Yeah,
out there. I saw something that said that they're easy to draw, but I'm like, that can't. I mean, can that be it? That seems
maybe.
like we have like this amazingly stellar animation, and they're worried about drawing a dog instead of a pig. Like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Anyway, I
Well,
just thought that was interesting that all 3 of them had it.
I mean, I think of it this way. Drawing
Hmm.
something without hair is going to be
Mm,
infinitely easier than drawing something with.
that's true.
So
That is
it
true.
could just be, hey, pigs in this movie, they got so much stuff to do. They have all
Yeah,
these
pigs
crazy
and frogs.
characters. Yeah, it's just something with no hair that's going to be
Yeah,
relatively easy to animate, so that you can focus
yeah,
on the important parts. You can
that's
focus on the
right.
big stink monster getting hosed
Mm.
down and all the fire coming out of the boiler room and the arm going all the way up.
Oh my gosh.
Like all
Yes.
those
Oh,
crazy moments.
there's so many, so many. I'm trying to think of, there's a scene where she is standing. I cannot remember what creature it is, where she is standing. She's not saying a word, but she seems so small,
Mm.
but she is just standing. It was like there was one of the creatures that was asking her question or like wanting her to account for something. And
Oh,
she didn't say a word. She just stood there. And I can't remember if it was the
wa-
no face monster
was it
when,
the radish guy?
no, because that was toward the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, so this
I
was like
loved that scene of them in the elevator,
he's so
cracked me up.
cute.
I know, I loved him. It was I think it was the no face monster when he still had all the people
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that he'd eaten and he was being kind of mean. And I feel like maybe that was it. He was like trying to get her to say something or do something. I can't remember. All I
He's trying to
remember
get her to
is
take the
seeing her
gold.
standing there. That was it. Thank you. Oh, and that is a whole other theme. That whole scene where, what are people willing to do for money?
Yeah.
What are you willing to compromise? What are you willing to sacrifice? They're bringing all of these things at the possibility that they might get gold. And she is not interested. Like, her priorities are with relationships, people she cares about. She doesn't care about the money.
Hmm.
Granted, she's a kid and she doesn't understand about how valuable
Well,
money is, but
yeah.
also, but also, like, it was such a statement on like people using money, people's value, how they value money, and they
Hmm.
value it over so many things. But
Yeah.
anyway, her standing there at that particular point in the movie, she seems so small, and you've got the monster who's so big at that time, or yeah, so big, and she just seems so small, but she seems so strong. Like she's not saying a word, and I think she's got the baby on her shoulder,
Yeah.
maybe, and she's just standing there in the face of this giant creature that's like leaning over the top of her, and she just held her. What do I want to say? She held
She held her
her.
ground, stood her ground.
She stood her ground. That's what I was going. She stood her ground and was like, that's like so brave
Yeah.
to do that. So brave. I felt like that was kind of, to me, felt like the moment that was, oh, she has come into her own in
Hmm.
this moment.
Yeah.
Um, the way that they animated that just made that crystal clear that, because I don't even remember what the creature was, but I remember her.
Right.
Like, I remember her standing there being so strong, so proud of her.
Yeah.
I felt that in my bones. Oh,
That
it
is
was so
deserved.
great.
But I mean, kind of going along with that, I think it could be interesting to kind of talk about that moment because it does feel so
Hmm.
crucial.
Hmm.
Where it is kind of like the climax of that arc, where No
Hmm.
Face is using gold in order to get something that he's always wanted, friends. And I think that's like the big thing he kind of
Mm.
discovers once the gold kind of comes out when that river spirit kind of goes away and he clocks it. It's like, oh, okay, these people like this, and I want to be friends with people. Everyone always keeps me outside. I'm so alone. And so, like, Sen being the only person that shows him kindness, he's like, well, I want to do that for her. So that's why he
Mm.
gives her all the tokens. And that's why when he first gets the gold, he's like trying to give it to her. And she says, no.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of going on with the theme of relationships and like the
Mm.
human connection being more important than material things. Even, I don't know if you caught it, it was kind of like a one off line that someone said. But after he starts like vomiting all the stuff and like turning back into his original form, someone says, oh, it's all mud. Like they're talking about like the gold. So the gold was fake. He was just
Oh, I didn't
using it.
catch that.
Yeah, because he was just kind of like
Mm.
conjuring it out of himself. And so then when
Yeah.
he like started barfing, and it turns out all that stuff was just like evil kind of rooting in his soul, I guess. That's when the gold kind of disappears and turns into mud.
Hmm.
So all these promises of wealth are thrown away. They're all
Mm.
turn out to be
That's,
nothing.
I never even, yes,
It's just
that's really true. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
nobody
there's so
says
much you
that.
could take out of this. Yeah.
No, like it isn't like a shot of like someone saying this gold is all fake. It's like something like maybe Sen's running away and it's something that someone says in the crowd and it's like
Mm.
barely addressed. I just noticed it because it was subtitled.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's interesting too. You think about like, what do we do? In what ways do we compromise ourselves? And what things do we give up to try to be accepted,
mhm.
to be loved? Like, how do we change who we are? Um, there's so many themes that you can take from that. You think about, he's eating people,
Yeah.
you know, he's eating people. And I noticed all the people he ate were different people. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't three of those froggy
All
people and it wasn't
right.
three of the women. It was like three different people. And which, I mean, is interesting. But you think about like he's taking what he has and trying to make it look so shiny so that people will want it.
Right.
You know, that is an interesting thing. Like, what are we willing to give up? And in the end, he didn't need any of that.
Mm-mm.
She didn't want any of that. She just was his friend and was willing to bring him along with her and to use one of her tickets for him.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think
And even
oh yeah,
giving
that's
him the
interesting.
medicine that she was saving for her
Yes,
parents, she gives it
that's
to him.
right. Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's like what's so important with that scene, and I think what's so important with No Face as a character, is that like he's so sympathetic because
Hmm.
I think maybe a clumsier kind of movie would just have had him be the bad guy. Like,
Hmm.
oh, it's someone that, she's friendly to him in the beginning. She lets him in out of kindness, but then that ends up completely destroying the bathhouse. And then he goes mad with power and he just becomes the bad guy. Your classic
Mm.
like Disney twist villain. You're
Yeah.
whatever. Um, the main, like, the mistake that the main character did is being kind, and that's something
Mm.
that Ghibli movies never ever do.
Mhm.
So instead of that, like, yes, he does kind of gain power, but like the thing that undoes him is kindness, as I said, this big sacrifice, the whole thing that she's been doing, the whole goal of this whole movie is her trying to rescue her parents, and she throws that away because of
Mhm.
this monster, this huge monster that everyone else is afraid of, but she sees through it and is like, hey, I saw you when you were just a little guy.
Mhm. Well, and I think too, there is definitely more to that. I think about, okay, so like let's take that same situation. You have someone who is alone, who's lonely, who has no friends, who feels
Mhm.
ignored, who feels invisible.
Yeah.
Someone sees him, but then we act out. We act out in ways that is harmful. And so sometimes, the people that you see that are, causing the most trouble sometimes are the people that are hurt on the inside. Like that acting out is as a result of some damage that's been done to their souls,
Yeah.
And it's a good example of like it may look one way on the outside. It may look like this is a bad person, but really this is not a bad person. This is someone who is hurting, who's acting out as a result of like inner pain.
Mm.
Um, and what her sacrifice in giving him that medicine, her sacrifice then brings him back to being himself again, and then going forward. But she sacrifices over and over again. She's taking bits of that off, and she gives some of it to
Haku.
Haku, and she's like uh, she's trying to minister. I mean, that's kind of a churchy word. That's not how I mean it, but like to take care of the people around her, and she's willing to sacrifice again, like what you said,
Mhm.
like this is for her parents, and she's using it for these other people. But I think specifically with No Face, where you're seeing that destruction, that
Mhm.
like unhealthy behavior happening, and we know that it is out of hurt and sadness.
Yeah.
That to me is a really good picture of what we see in life sometimes. The people that hurt you the most are often the people who are hurt. Hurt people hurt people. I've said that before. You hear it a million times, and it's the truth.
Mhm.
You just need some kindness sometimes. And
Yeah.
yeah, and she does that. That's really cool.
Yeah. I just love that dynamic.
Mm,
And that medicine is like so crucial too. And I
hmm
think like it kind of goes along with the metaphor. I think like number one theme, the main theme is courage and bravery in the face of fear. But I think number two is love. It's something that they bring up a
hmm
lot. And that like, oh, she cares about Haku because there's love there. And even like that river spirit that is like bogged down by all this trash, it's like
hmm
because she was like willing to be in there and take care of this spirit when no one else was. Everyone was just watching from the sidelines.
Yeah.
But it's because she showed love and compassion that that medicine shows up. And so it's
hmm
like that is almost a representation of love, like a material thing that she can say, like she gives a little to Haku because she loves Haku. She gives a little
hmm
bit to No Face because she loves No Face. And like after like that medicine is given to those people, like it's a complete 180 and then they reciprocate. Where like Haku like tries to like save Sen and then No
hmm
Face is like, I made a mistake, I'm gonna come with you. And then
hmm
we got to talk about the shot where they're on the train. That's probably the most famous shot from this movie
Yes.
is them sitting side by
hmm
side and she's looking out the window and it's just
Yeah.
like this solemn, it's not solemn, but it's just like this moment where of reflection. And it's
hmm
so key, I think. It's just this wonderful and beautiful moment where it's like the one thing of like technology we see because like
hmm
everything in like the bathhouse is like the stuff's on strings and then there's like funnels and chutes and pipes, but like we don't really see anything electrical until we get to that train, and it kind of grounds us where it's like, okay, now they're in the real world. We're taking something that's kind of fantastical. Now they're on a subway. They're on a
Yes.
subway with a
Yeah.
bunch of
Right.
ghosts.
Yeah. With a bunch of ghosts.
But there's that scene where, not that scene, that shot where she's looking out the window and you can see her reflection. She's just like peering out. Um, it's just like, that might be like one of my favorite shots in any movie. It's so beautiful, like the
Hmm.
composition of it. And I think that like that kind of goes, anytime you see a reflection in movie, that's usually a sign of like uh, a time for reflections. Obviously,
Yeah.
the thing that I point to that most people would know, there's a whole Mulan song about it.
That's exactly what I was just thinking about. There's also a scene in Greece when, after Danny was really mean to her, she goes outside and she sings Hopelessly Devoted to You, and she's looking in the baby pool and she takes a tissue
Mhm.
and she messes up her reflection because she no longer is going to be Sandra D. That's right.
Yeah. See, you're
And
picking up.
now you understand that reference.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Lucky me. Oh, but yeah, it's just really lovely. It's a lovely
Hmm.
film, and
Yeah.
it's a lovely scene.
Hmm.
I love that that's kind of become the thing that people know from this movie is that shot. I think even if you click on, there's a poster on Max, but then you click into it and there's like the bigger shot. I think it's that.
Is it?
I think so.
I think, I was confused by that because, of course, I do know that image because it is the image everywhere.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching the movie and at the time when he's like kind of raging, it was, I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand how we get from this
To that.
because I haven't seen the train scene yet.
Mhm.
How do we get back to that after we're in the middle of this? I was kind of confused by it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you kind of see the journey that he goes on, even just from there to when they're on the train, well, then it all makes sense. But in that moment, I was like, I don't know how that's going to happen
Right.
because this is really going off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes these movies so special to me
Mm.
is that they do kind of, I mean, you're so accustomed. Once he's the a big monster, it's just like he's the bad guy.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we're accustomed to. It's like
Hmm.
every Disney movie, the bad guy starts off as somewhat likable, a little quirky, but overall good. But then something happens and then snaps, and then they become the bad guy. Oh, we gotta stop them, and then they just become like
Yep.
evil for no reason.
It's like in Frozen
Oh yeah,
when that character, you think he's good and then he's not good. And
yeah,
then you're like, I knew it.
yeah,
But this is good because he's good and then he's not acting good and then he's redeemed. He
yeah.
sees he sees that somebody cares about him and he changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's lovely.
It is.
Okay, let me tell you one other thing I really loved as
Okay.
the flowers. The scenes where they were going through the gardens
Oh,
and it was like walls of flowers. And it was so pretty. I was just like, oh, I loved that. And I loved the sound of when all of the dragon scales go away,
oh
that
yeah.
clicking and everything just comes undone and they're falling. But that sound of all of that, all those scales just being removed from him. That was cool. I really liked that.
Oh
It's kind of a
yeah.
small thing, but I really did like the sound. It was very satisfying. And then
Yeah.
how pretty it was, those paper birds.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So cool.
I don't know. Visually, there were just so many things in this movie that I mean, it was just such a delight.
Yeah.
It was just a delight. The animation in it was,
Mm,
it
mm,
was so great.
yeah.
I really liked it so
It's
much.
so good.
Oh,
Man,
I
I'm glad.
know.
Because when I watched this originally, I think this may
Yeah.
have been, I don't know what the first Ghibli movie I saw was. It probably was this.
Mm.
Um, but the only reason I watched it, I was in art school and my roommate, or one of my roommates, I had three roommates, one of them had the whole box set of all of the Ghibli movies. And I was always just like, hey, do you mind if I watch these? I've never seen these before. 'Cause I was like so
Mhm.
nervous. Like I don't want to ruin. Like this is so cool. This box set's so
Yeah.
cool. I don't want to. I don't want to break it. But he's like, yeah, no,
Uh,
fine. Just do it. Like watch them. Like if you haven't seen them before, you should. And
yeah.
so I think I watched this, and I don't remember loving it as much as I do now, and
Oh.
I don't really
Mm.
know why. On Letterboxd, I had it rated a 4,
Mhm.
which is still good. But like,
Yeah.
man, it's a masterpiece. I had no idea.
Yes,
Uh,
it is really, I mean, I can see why it won.
oh yeah,
I
I
can
don't.
see why it won an Oscar because, you can look at the animation and be like, yeah, this is visually beautiful. You can look at the effort that went into hand drawing. I mean, that in itself is unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
But then you start like breaking down the themes, the way it's executed. Um, I love that. I love that it is centered in culture,
Oh
in their
yeah.
culture, and
Hmm.
that it's exposing me to something new. Like
Hmm.
I love that. So many times it's like, well, our entertainment either has to be, British,
Right.
American, or French. Those are the three that they have to be, and so to have art from, especially from the eastern areas of the
Mhm.
world, like that's so cool. I like to experience that. It's a
Mhm.
new and exciting thing. So,
Okay.
um, one thing I did want to say too, because I was just quickly looking through my notes, and there was a part that's when Yubaba took her name,
Mm. Oh yeah.
and the line that I think it's, oh boy, I don't remember who said it. I think Haku said it. If you forget your name, you can never find your way back.
Hmm.
I think that's interesting too, like the role of a name, um, you know, so much around names and who you are, and I wonder if there's a special meaning behind the name Sen. Do we know anything about that? I mean, it kind
I
of makes me
don't.
curious. Why, what does that name mean? Why did she give her that name?
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
sure there
know.
is something to it. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. I'm gonna look it up for next time. But the importance of a name, like you see that even, um, well, what comes to mind at first for me are like biblical stories where God changes someone's name,
Oh
something
sure.
like Paul and Saul, or Sarah and Sarai, or however it was originally pronounced. Like you hear that you have a new name, something has happened and it's transformed you, and you have a new name. Um, in this case, their names are taken,
Mm.
and they're given a name that you know, they haven't asked for. I see a smile on your face. Have you found something out there? Oh,
No.
I thought you were looking like researching something. You had like a little grin on your face.
No.
Anyway, the importance of a name. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just I think that's interesting. I also noticed, or remembered that Haku. Let's see. I'm looking for his name.
Oh, it's a
Um,
spirit.
Kohaku River. Oh,
Yeah.
Haku's the end of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together
Oh.
until I just looked at it. Kohaku River do you think that has anything to do with the river monster? Was he in
um.
the river monster? Because I wondered this, because the dragon looked just like the spirit that came out of the river monster. When they do
Mm.
that big wrestling and the
Oh.
bicycle and everything comes
Yeah.
out, and it's that long skinny white, it looked like that dragon. It
Yeah, but he
looked
has
like
like the
Haku.
brown like mask on.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't think it's like that's supposed to be Haku, but I think
Okay.
it's a little Easter egg almost where it's like, oh, the only other river, like they explicitly say that's a river
Yes.
spirit.
Yeah.
And then the only other dragon we see is Haku, who ends up
Yeah.
being a river spirit. I think it's a little
Okay.
nod like that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I thought that was okay. So yeah, the Kohaku River.
I
What's
did
his real name?
I do see that
Interesting.
it is not a real river.
Okay.
There
All
oh,
right.
I guess it was oh. Oh wait, I think this is what he says in the movie.
What's he say?
Interesting. So it was like an ancient river It doesn't exist anymore. There's apartment buildings
Oh.
on it.
Oh, yes, they did say
They
that.
did say that. Yeah.
They
So
did.
that's real.
Oh. Oh, that's cool. See,
Mm.
people would know that. We don't know that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
where
crazy.
I love this. I love like learning all of this, but I wonder about the symbolism and the stories that people
Mhm.
would know that
Yeah.
we wouldn't know. I bet there's so much more to this movie than what we even know because we aren't familiar with the traditions and the legends, etc.
Yeah.
Um, oh, fascinating. That's interesting.
That is
Huh,
fascinating. Yeah, I didn't
that's
know.
cool.
Interesting stuff. Um,
It is.
yeah. So I don't know if I have anything else to say. Do you have anything else to say about Spirited Away?
I don't. Except that if you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see it. Watch it, enjoy
Yes.
it. Don't do don't be on your phone at the same time.
No.
Like fully be absorbed in the movie so that you don't miss a single frame of the beauty that is this movie because that animation is to be treasured.
Absolutely.
Um don't try to do the multitasking thing. This is not a multitasking movie. There are multitasking movies out there, but this is not one of them, so don't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
You took the
it's
words out of my
visually
mouth.
amazing. Yeah, just visually stunning and a great story. And if you
Mhm.
want to sit and think about it, there's so many things you can think about and apply to your own life.
Yeah,
That makes a great movie. I loved it.
it's very, very good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, now I think it's one of my favorites. I feel like that's
Hmm.
such a basic pick, but I I can't help it.
There's a
It's actually very
reason.
good.
So
um,
many times it's like, oh, I'm basic, but I'm like, there's a reason that it's popular
there's
because
a
people
yeah,
like it. It's
yeah.
good.
I will say I
Yeah.
think I don't know when we'll do another Ghibli movie.
Hmm.
It'll probably be sooner rather than later. I'm having fun going through these.
That's fun.
Um, but I think it would be fun. I think the next one we're gonna do is Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay. Have you
That w-
seen that one?
yes, a long time
Okay.
ago. I watched
Hmm.
it. I probably didn't see it in the best setting because I
Mm.
watched it with my friend Grant, and I think he had like a copy of it on something, like he bought it on Amazon or whatever. So he was streaming it to me over Discord. He was sharing his screen and I
Oh.
was watching it that way. So definitely not the intended way to watch that
Mm.
one. But that one has a very interesting cast in that
Okay.
Howl is played by Christian Bale.
Oh.
There is a little fire spirit that is played by Billy Crystal.
Oh my
And
gosh. What a treasure.
one of the main bad guys, a big witch, is played by Lauren Bacall, if you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I love the Lauren Bacall, man. You don't hear from her very often anymore.
No. And that movie
Wow.
came out in 2004. So she would have
Huh.
been old.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
looking forward. That one is also highly, highly regarded.
Huh.
So that's the one we'll do next. And be sure to, as we're doing Ghibli movies, keep an eye out for those little soot monsters because they show up a lot.
Do they really? Oh my gosh, I am so happy because I love them.
They're they're not like exactly like a Pizza Planet truck or something where they're in like
Oh.
every movie, but
Oh.
I can think of 4 off the top of my head that they're in.
Well, that makes me incredibly happy. I
They,
love that.
they aren't all like characterized like that. Sometimes they're just like
Yeah.
little fuzzballs that hang out and watch the events. They aren't all as mischievous as they are in this one.
Yeah. I love
But
it.
yeah, I know like they were more of a thing like in the early days, but then they showed up in The Boy and the Heron. And I'm like, oh, that's
Mm.
so nice. I'm glad
Oh,
that
I
they
love
showed
that.
up.
Yes, I love that they would take her shoes for her. I just think
Yeah.
that's so cute. They'd bring her shoes out for her with their socks tucked in there. so, so
Yeah, they
adorable.
didn't want him to get all sooty,
No,
the
it's
coal
very
dust.
sweet. So sweet. Oh, I just loved them. And still, the mouse, the baby as a mouse was adorable. So, like, running on the hamster wheel. I was just like, oh gosh, you're just so cute. Anyway, okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of recollection correction corner if I can.
Yeah.
I don't have that much, but I did want to talk about Terry Garr and her Elvis movies.
Oh yeah.
That's the only thing I looked up for this last one
Oh,
because we
okay.
did a really good job
We
last
sure
time.
did.
There were 5 movies, and I'll give you the names. She did Fun in Acapulco in 1963.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Then she did 3 in 1964. Viva Las Vegas, Kissin' Cousins, and Roustabout.
Ooh.
And then the last one that she did was Clam Bake, 1967.
That might
So
have been.
63, 64, 67.
Oh, that's. Wait, 1
I
second.
didn't even know that was an Elvis movie. I have never in my life heard of that. Clam Bake.
1967.
Yeah.
Okay, not quite. There's an Elvis movie that comes out right as the Hays Code ends, and I thought it might have been that one.
Oh.
But the Hays Code ended in 68.
Oh,
So
okay.
not quite. But
Yeah.
a running theme in all of the Elvis movies is being explicitly about sex, but they can't explicitly say that. It gets
True.
very difficult. There's a lot of like weird like loopholes that they have to get, and I think clam bake is one of those.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That's funny.
yeah. I know, like,
Yeah.
eventually, I think, like, one of his last movies is, like, a straight-up, like, exploitation movie where they have, like, it's like once the Hays Code is over, then it's like, we gotta have ladies showing off their gams. Stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I need to know because my notes said 5. Then, yeah, it was, we kept going back and forth. And the problem is, like some of the clam bake, I've never heard of that in my life. So
I
how would
forgot
I
that
even
one.
know if that was an Elvis movie? I mean, so anyway, I just wanted to double check and make sure that I wasn't giving incorrect information. It was indeed 5 Elvis movies.
Yeah, I
And
was
those are the
wrong.
5.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't recognize clam bake.
Yeah, well, who would? Come on.
I recognize Roustabout, though, so I don't
I'm
know.
impressed. You are going to be our resident Elvis movie expert by the time you're done. I mean, I've never seen one of them. I need to, apparently it sounds like, what one was the one that you
King
just watched that you were like,
Creole. So
that's
dang
it,
good.
King Creole. I need to watch that one,
Yeah.
apparently,
very
because
good.
that's your favorite so far.
So
Like,
far.
didn't even have to be an Elvis movie, you said?
No, it's just
So,
genuinely a great movie.
All right.
And
Well,
the one that I just watched, GI Blues, not good.
yeah.
Very
Oh,
bad.
really? Okay. I have heard of that one.
Yeah, that was the first one that he did after he was drafted, after he
Okay.
came back home. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
It's kind of interesting because
Yeah.
it's the same tank battalion that he was in real life.
Interesting.
So there's like some stuff, but other than that, it's not good.
Oh, okay. Well, that is excellent to know.
Yeah, don't watch
Sounds
that
like
one.
King Creole is the way to go. And maybe Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah, both of those are pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. That will be my plan at some point. I will do that along with Oh God Book 2 and Oh God You Devil. I still have to watch those.
Oh, of course.
Oh, so I get to pick this time. It
You
is
sure
my
do.
pick. I'm very excited. I just decided what we were going to watch right before we started recording because I needed to make sure it was available for us to watch. That's important. So what we are going to watch is a movie from 1988 with one of my favorite actors of all time,
Oh,
which would be Mr. Harrison Ford. And we are going to
okay.
watch Working Girl with Harrison Ford, Sigourney Weaver, and Melanie Griffith.
Okay.
It is wonderful that I remember. I saw it many
remember?
times. I remember, I haven't seen it since the 90s probably, but I love all 3 of those people.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford is at like peak handsomeness in this movie. And it's got a little bit of feminism in it, which I also really like.
Yeah.
We can talk about the changing roles of women in the 80s.
Okay.
And like I said, Sigourney Weaver, awesome. Melanie Griffith is Dakota Johnson's mom. Melanie Griffith was married to Don Johnson at the time.
Nice.
And she is the daughter of, oh boy, I want to say Tippi Hedren.
That sounds right. Yeah. From the
Um,
birds
yes,
and
I think that's
Roar.
right. I don't know Roar. I just know the birds, but I have never seen the birds because I love the bird. I love birds. Birds are one of my favorite things.
Really? Oh yeah, I guess I
Oh
do
my
know that.
gosh. I love
I
birds. You
didn't
know
know that
that?
like you loved I know you like them when they sit on the telephone pole and
I
when
like
they
when they
migrate.
sit on, oh my gosh, when they are in a flock and they are like doing their bird thing. It makes me so happy, but I love a bird. I love to hear the birds. I love to look at birds. I think they're so pretty. I love the variation in birds, and they're so many of them are so really colorful and beautiful, and they sound so nice. Like I was laying in bed the other day, I woke up in the morning, and winter in Iowa, not a lot of birds. It's
No.
cold. And I know I was laying there the other day and I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, there are birds out there singing. And I just laid there thinking, how amazing is it that this little tiny animal has a song and they sing this beautiful song in the morning.
Yeah.
And oh, I don't know. I just am in awe of birds. I just love them so very much. For that reason, I've never seen the birds
Mm.
because I have talked to so many people who are like, I hate birds. I saw the movie The Birds. I mean, everybody, when they find out I love birds, they're like, nope, hate birds. Saw the movie The Birds. So I won't
Mm.
watch it because I don't want that to be ruined for me because truly they bring me so much happiness. My
Yeah,
favorite bird story, I don't remember if I've told you this bird story. Okay, I'm going to
probably.
tell you the bird story.
Okay.
So back in the day, I don't know, 10 years ago, I used to do once a year, I would walk a half a marathon. And we would go to this area of Des Moines where there's this beautiful lake and there's a walking trail around the lake. And we would walk around it. Every lap we would put down a penny. So we would remember how many times we had been around the lake. And I think it's 1 mile. It's either 1 mile or 2 miles. Anyway, we had to do multiple pennies. My point was we would lose track. So it was like we have to bring something so we know how many times we've gone around.
Yeah.
But you guys, I don't train for this. I don't walk outside of this one day a year that I'm walking 13 miles, and I am dying. By the time we're getting to the end of this and the sun is coming down and it's dusk and it's fall, we always do this in the fall. And so sun's coming down and we've got the beautiful lake water. And all of a sudden, this giant flock of birds is flying overhead. And again, my favorite thing, birds like swirling in the air. And I'm exhausted and a little delirious. And I say to my friend who's walking with me, oh my goodness, I love birds. Birds, okay, I'm going to get religious here for a second, but it has to be a part of the story. So just go hold with me here. Oh, I love birds. Birds are so beautiful. Birds are how God tells me that he loves me. And seriously, I finished that sentence and a bird shit on my head all the way down, like ran down my head. And my friend about died. I mean, she was like, the timing of that could not have been more perfect. And we had to go out to dinner afterwards, and I had
Oh,
bird shit in my hair. I was like, oh
oh,
my gosh.
gross.
It was so bad, but it was so funny. It's one of my favorite stories. I mean, it was so beautiful, the sunset, the water, the birds. I just was so overwhelmed with emotion. Oh my goodness, this is how God tells me he loves me. Anyway, so funny.
That's
I,
perfect
I
timing.
forgot how I even got to that. How do we get from working girl to that? I don't
Because
know.
Tippy
Oh, the
Hedren
birds.
and
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
watch the birds. They actually hurt
I'm not
birds in
going to
that
watch it.
movie.
No. Oh, yeah. I definitely for sure don't want to watch
Yeah.
that.
It's I mean, Alfred Hitchcock was kind of a maniac.
Yeah.
So I think he was like actually chucking birds at Tippi Hedren. And then she was like, stop
No.
doing that. And he was like, okay, we'll stop. And then they did like 10 more takes. So
Oh,
like, I think the point, like it traumatized her for sure. Like she does not,
yeah.
I think it like made her stop acting. She was like hardly in anything after that. It was such a
Really?
bad
Oh, that makes me
experience.
sad.
Yeah.
That makes me really
He was
sad.
kind of a monster.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. He's so weird. Everything I learn about him conflicts. He's like a very weird and complex person.
that's interesting
Because he was
to
also
me.
like a big prankster. He loved pranking people, and they were like really
Yeah.
elaborate pranks too. Like he would order a
Uh huh.
couch for someone, like buy a couch for someone, and then like they're one day off from set, they would have to be like working with the movers to get this couch into their like 1 bedroom apartment. And he's just like, haha, you got a couch now. You got to deal with this all day. It's like a big goof.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's funny.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
He's a weird
Yeah,
guy.
it is. That's a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Melanie Griffith. Yes. Tippi Hedren's daughter. And I don't remember if she was a big actress before this. She was also in a movie called Shining Through with Michael Douglas, where she played a spy during World War II. That movie is excellent as well. What are you finding out there?
Okay. I
Is
need
it not
to
Tippi
see.
Hedren?
No, it is Tippi Hedren.
Okay.
I was looking because I brought up Roar. Sorry to
Okay.
derail everything.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Are you even aware of what Roar is?
No,
Okay.
I'm not.
Roar is a movie that came out in 1981. It has the tagline, "No animals were harmed in the making of this movie, but at least 30 cast and crew members were."
Whoa. Okay.
It's a movie. Noel Marshall was a pretty well-known film producer, married Tippi Hedren. After The Birds, they're like, no more show business for me. We're going to open up a wild sanctuary for big cats. And so then they were like going over to Africa and like helping like conservation efforts there. And then Noel Marshall, this crazy dude, was like, this is too long. I don't like going on planes anymore. I want the wildlife sanctuary here in LA. And so then he like bought this big like plot of land, shipped a bunch of big cats over to it, big cats and zebras and giraffes and elephants over to this place. And he's like, hey, I make movies. Why don't we make a movie with all these big cats?
Wow.
And
Okay.
so it's like actually him, it's actually Tippi Hedren, it's actually their children, just like kind of let loose with all of these big cats in their house.
Wow.
And I think Tippi Hedren, I think she got her leg broke. There's this scene where an elephant has its trunk wrapped around Tippi Hedren and then like one little thing around her leg. And the elephant was gripping so tight that it snapped her femur.
Oh my gosh.
And
I mean, that's the biggest bone in your body.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and they left it in. It's in the movie, and you can see she goes like, it like becomes real. And it's like,
Oh my gosh.
And I think Melanie Griffith, she got scalped by one of the big cats. I think. I know one of their children did. I was looking up to see if it was her. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think one of them did. It was like from here to like back there. It was like the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Okay.
no animals were harmed in the making of that movie, but like everyone involved was.
Oh my gosh. That's traumatic.
Oh yeah.
There's no way I would want to watch that. I would not want to
Oh,
watch
no.
somebody get their leg broken.
No, I mean
Oh
you
my
don't.
gosh,
It's not
or
like
scalped.
It's not like graphic. Like they don't show like, here, look at the
You
leg.
can't hear the snap.
No, you just see it like, because it's like, it's a close up. It's like an action scene. And it's just like the top
okay.
of her body. And she's just going, ah. But like, you can definitely tell when it happens based on what like she says.
Her reaction.
Her reaction, yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
So yeah, do some research.
So-
I'm giving you a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna look at that. So yeah, Melanie Griffith is interesting in her own right. You know, her hair in this movie is horrendous. So just gird your loins on that. Her hair. It is so bad. It is so bad.
Do you have written down when Working Girl came out?
1988.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's too far. Roar came out in 1981. I did see it was her.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Retrospectively been deemed one of the most dangerous film productions of all time. On one occasion during the shoot, Griffith was mauled by a lion and had to go facial reconstructive surgery. Her attack and injury is visible in the final film.
Oh my gosh. They put it in the movie.
Might as well.
Oh my gosh.
I
I
mean,
cannot even.
I mean,
That's your
you,
kid.
yeah. I mean, you hear stories about that, like of like big accidents that happen on set, and then like the
Yeah.
people who are in them are like, well, you got to use it. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, this isn't a stunt person. This is your
no,
child.
yeah.
Like, there's no way I would want to see that over and over again as
Oh
a,
no.
oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
It was like
That's
they were
crazy.
making it in the late 70s. They were just like, hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Probably.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she has bad hair
Okay.
in the movie. And yeah, she was married to Don Johnson during the peak Miami Vice years when he
Mm.
was like at his most handsome and everyone was dressing like him with the t-shirts and the, sport jackets and the no socks with your boat shoes sort of situation, mullets.
Hmm.
And then they got divorced, and then she ended up marrying Antonio Banderas, of course,
Ooh.
who was, amazing and also gorgeous. And she's gotten some gorgeous guys. Anyway, Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith are the parents of Dakota Johnson
Mm. Okay.
from
A bunch of things.
50 Shades of Grey. I don't know. I feel like I've seen her in something recently, and I cannot think of what it is. I just remember 50 Shades of Grey was the first time I really remember hearing her name.
She was in Madam
Um,
Web.
okay. Okay. I didn't watch it, but I have heard of it. There's something I've actually seen her in recently. We'll
Okay.
look and we'll see. But anyway, so she's interesting person. And Harrison Ford,
I love him.
so super handsome. And do you know what TV show he's in that everyone should really watch,
It's shrinking.
including Jerry? Shrinking. That's right. Everybody should go watch Shrinking because he's amazing. I just rewatched the clip of him with David Blaine, where David
Oh
Blaine
yeah.
comes to his house and does the magic trick, and he's like,
Cards and the
"Get
orange.
out of my house."
That's the
I
best.
just I just rewatched that a couple of days ago. I was like, oh man, that is so good. I remember seeing that originally when it happened.
Yeah.
It's just as funny now.
Oh,
I enjoyed it.
Harrison Ford's great. Well, that's a
He
good
really is.
pick. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
me too. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I always really enjoyed it. I think there will be things to talk about. So
I'm
it,
sure.
it should be good. If nothing else, her hair
Okay. Well,
and the outfits, because there's going to be a lot of big shoulder pads because we're talking about the 80s
oh
right now.
wow. Yeah,
So
like big power suits.
women in power positions in their power suits with the shoulder pads. It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shift from today, but that's
it
okay.
is.
It'll be
Yeah,
good.
it'll be fun,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable.
Yeah, I think so. So that was we did recollection correction. We did what's
We
going
did.
on next week. So I think we're pretty much done here.
I'll let you know how the Minecraft movie is next week when
Well,
we get together.
that would be just great. I would love that.
I do love a Jason Momoa, and I
You
do
do?
love a Jack Black. Oh yeah.
What have you seen Jason Momoa in?
Nothing. I haven't seen him in anything, but
Okay.
I still love him. So he's from the town that our library is in.
Yeah.
And so he'll show up around different places in Des Moines and have breakfast at the Waveland Cafe and whatever. And so when he's in town, it's an event. And he was married to Lisa Bonet. And as you know, maybe they weren't married. Were they married? Now I can't remember. They were in a relationship anyway, right? Yes. Yes, they were in a relationship. Oh my gosh, I was second guessing myself. I was like, oh, I was thinking of Demi Moore, but that's not
Oh.
it. That's not it. It was Lisa Bonet. Okay, so he was in a relationship with Lisa Bonet, and of course, I just finished watching Different World. So
Oh yeah.
that's my connection there.
There
But
you go.
also, like his mom still lives in Norwalk, which is where our library is located, and we really want him. We're looking at hopefully building a new building, and we would really like to be able to do some promotional stuff with Mr. Jason Momoa. And also, Brandon Routh is also from Norwalk, so we have two superheroes from the
Yeah.
town that we're building a library. And we thought, oh my gosh, it would be amazing to have both of them promote, like, support the library and, like, donate toward us building a new building
Yeah.
because you love us. And so I have a special place in my heart for him, even though I've never seen a movie with him in it. I have seen many TV talk show appearances
Oh, sure.
and red carpets, and there's something about him I just very much enjoy.
Yeah, he seems like a delightful human being.
He is a very down-to-earth sort of person, and he is the thing I love. Like, you have he's a big-time celebrity, and he comes back to Des Moines, and he, like, will pose with people when he goes to have breakfast at Waveland Cafe. He will take pictures with everyone in the room, and he just is such just like a regular guy, and I really like that about him. He's very kind. That was kind of long-winded. I didn't know I felt so strongly about Jason
I
Momoa.
didn't either. I'm like, you haven't seen Game of Thrones. You haven't seen Aquaman. What else has Jason Momoa been in?
Well, he's in the Minecraft movie.
Wow.
So
At least there's
now
that.
I will be able to say that I have seen a Jason Momoa movie. But I also do really like Jack Black.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't know. I have a soft spot for that guy. And I don't know if you've seen the video clip of, I think he's on the Jennifer Hudson show or Kelly Clarkson. I can't remember which one, but there's this guy from, I don't know. I can't think of what show he's from. It's from a reality show, and he loves he loves Jack Black so much. And it's this guy's goal to meet Jack Black before he turns 31.
Okay.
I think this might be love on the spectrum or something. So this gentleman has some different needs, and so he is just like loves Jack Black, and the talk show host surprises him, and it is the sweetest thing you've seen in your entire life. You will love Jack Black forever after seeing this clip, and the way that he is just so kind and just so, this guy's all up in his space, and he's just so sweet about it. Anyway, I'm going to go support those guys by going to see their movie.
There you go.
And I'm going to eat popcorn. So it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
I can feel it in your voice. I can hear it in your voice.
Everything
Yeah,
I've seen for that movie looks absolutely terrible. I think if I saw it, it might be a contender for a half star, just based on everything I've seen. Yeah.
You think so? Well, I wonder, it'll be interesting to see how I feel about it, considering I know nothing about the game either. So,
I don't know if there's a whole lot to get.
like, is it?
It's so simple.
I know, but won't there be like inside jokes about certain things? Like, oh yeah, that's funny. Haha, everybody knows about this. I won't know about it, so I won't get it. But it'll be fine.
There's probably going to be stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was like my big problem with the Mario movie, was that like the first half an hour of that, I was being like waterboarded with references. I'm like, oh, I get it. Where it was like every single thing, like his ringtone is the GameCube startup sound, and like all of the streets are direct references to different characters, and like, and tell a story. I'm like, you're like getting in the way. I can't focus on everything because I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah. Oh, but then there's something else. So I think actually going into the Minecraft movie not knowing anything will actually be a better way to watch it, because, you know,
I might enjoy it.
yeah, you'll actually be able to look at it with a critical eye.
Well, I'll let you know how it is.
All right.
You know, me being an expert at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. If for no other reason, it'll be fun to go out with Jenna and Gabe and hang out at the movie theater on a Tuesday night. Get to leave work a little bit early so that I can go. It's good. That keeps me accountable for not staying too late. Last week I was there until midnight one night by myself. That building makes weird noises at night when I'm there by myself. The hair on my neck stands up. And it's like, I don't like this. So I turned on some 21 Pilots, and I cranked up the music, and finished my work and went home. Anyway, okay.
Well, we'll wrap this ish up, I think.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, the only thing we have to get out of the way is the plugs. I have a podcast, another one, called the Boy Time Podcast, where I watch Elvis movies. The most recent episode of the Boy Time Podcast is actually all about Nintendo. not all about it.
Oh.
But there's a big segment of it because the Switch 2 presentation happened. And it seems like Nintendo is gunning for the throats of every single PlayStation executive.
Whoa.
They're coming for the throne, which is
Okay.
interesting because they have not been in the conversation for the last 20
No.
years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time since the Sega Nintendo days. I'll just say
Yeah.
that. Now they've been kind of like in the back seat the whole time. It's been Xbox versus PlayStation for the last 20 years, and now Nintendo's like, actually, we're still here. And it's interesting because Xbox is going down. So
Oh, all right.
they're kind of, I think they're going to be like, I think this might be the last Xbox console, honestly, based on what
Wow.
all of the things I'm hearing. So, and honestly, I never thought I would say this. My money's on Nintendo. I think Nintendo has
Really?
got it. I think they can take over Sony. We'll see.
Well, I've always liked Nintendo.
Yeah, they're fun.
I don't know that I have a real reason, except that that's what we always had, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
so for me, I have a soft spot for that. But yeah, I'm 2 episodes behind on your podcast, so I'll get on it. I'll get caught up.
The new one's not out yet. I just edited it today.
So
So
I'll be 3 behind.
once that comes out tomorrow, yes.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I will be 3 behind. Maybe I need to listen to it tonight. One of them tonight.
You have no obligation to do so. I will say that.
Oh, I always do. I like to listen to you. Makes me happy in my heart. Makes me feel like you're here, not so far away.
Yeah, all the way on the other side of the globe.
I know. 3.5 hours away.
So watch that podcast. Listen to that
Yep.
podcast. I also do a video show about music that I do with my good friend Babby. We just, as of today, we released our reaction to the new Black Country New Road album. If you're interested in that type of music, check it out. I'm not really. It's like art rock. I don't really like that.
Oh, okay.
But Babby said I might like it, and yeah, there's some songs I like. But we also reacted to Genesis Invisible Touch. We did a twofer where I was like, I got to do one and he got to do one.
Okay, I like that.
So
I'm a fan of Genesis Invisible Touch.
me too.
That's of my era. Oh, you liked it? Did Babby
Yeah.
like it?
Some songs. I mean, this was one that I had already heard. I loved that album. So I thought it, and it had been on the wheel the whole time we've been doing the show. So since July of 21.
Sheesh. Took
and
you
it-
4 years.
Yeah, I was finally like, it's about time. I should just, I should do it.
Yes.
So we listened to that. And also the new Lucy Dacus album. We reacted to that. And that is on our
boy,
channel.
I can't wait to hear about that because you guys both have seen her live, so I'm interested to hear. Oh, there it is.
That's the new album.
Yep.
I already have it.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I pre-ordered it when I had money and means to do so.
Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, that's all that I've got going on. Check out all that stuff. It's very fun, very cool, very kooky. Or you can stay right here. We have a bunch of episodes that we have backlogged. A lot of good stuff too.
The next one is episode 10
Episode 10?
already.
What the
Episode
heck?
10.
That's
I
crazy.
know. Who'd have thought that we would have stuck with it? Me. If I make a commitment, I stick with it.
Yeah.
And this is fun for me. I like being able to chat with you
Yeah, me too.
and talk about movies. It's fun. Feels like you're still here.
It's very fun.
Because this is what we do when you're at home. So this is perfect. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It is.
But yeah, we did talk about Princess Mononoke. So if you're on a Ghibli kick
Yeah.
like I am, go ahead and watch that one. I don't.
Or go ahead.
I was like, I don't remember if our discussion is as good as. I feel like we had a really great discussion about Spirited Away. I don't know if we had a great discussion about Princess Mononoke.
No, because I was struggling to stay awake. There were multiple things that were happening with that one. The
Yeah.
gross, and I was super tired that day. What I've discovered is that this is terrible. If I eat while I watch, then I don't get tired. And I don't want to just sit and mindlessly eat, but if I am not like eating or doing something with my hands, and I don't want to do something that's distracting so that I'm not
Mm.
watching the movie. So I'm eating those yummy candy,
Oh
those
yeah.
orange pineapple things that are so delicious. And I just take little teeny tiny nibbles off of it and try to make them last as long as possible to try to keep me awake, which is also what I did today
There you go.
to watch the one today. But so that was also part of the problem, was that I was not like, I could not stay awake that day that I watched it. So it was the gross and that. So our discussion was probably not at the peak level
That's okay.
like this particular discussion was. And I also just really, really loved this. And I felt like these themes were things that I feel these themes resonate with me, and they're just anything relational.
Hmm.
I'm all about it. I love something with that has either like a character develop. I love to see the evolution of a character, and I love relationships, and especially relationships that make me feel good when I'm finished watching it. I
Yes.
love that. It's like one of my favorite things.
It is
And you
nice.
know what else is like that? The TV show Shrinking with Harrison Ford that Jerry is supposed to watch and
Eh,
needs to do.
the first season's great.
You're going to love the second season, I'm telling you.
I'm sure I
Take
will.
when you actually watch it, I'm going to do a happy dance.
Okay.
Yes, you really need to watch it because you
I
will love
know.
it.
I know I
Okay.
will. I'm just I'm bad. I'm
You're
bad.
busy. You're busy. You should watch. Here's what's going to happen though. If you watched one episode, then you'd be like, oh, I'm going to watch another episode. And then you'd have it watched in like 3 days because you're going to love it so much.
Yeah.
It is very much a Jerry show.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, I
and
love the
and
first
so
season.
I just know you're going to love it. And you should watch it because I want to talk about it with somebody.
What I need to do is get like a Lego set or something. Maybe
Yes.
once I start making a bunch of cash off of this podcast, then I'll get
Yeah.
a Lego set.
Yeah.
And that'll give me
Um,
something to do.
but also Easter is coming.
That's true.
So like Easter baskets, maybe the Easter bunny will bring you a Lego set. And then
Maybe.
maybe the Easter bunny will bring you a Lego set if you promise to watch Shrinking while you're making the Lego set.
That sounds like something I could do.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what the Easter bunny can do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that'll just about do it for this show. Check back next time. We'll be doing Working Girl, but that's all I have.
Is that the name of it? Yeah. I had a moment. I was like,
Like,
that
I hope
doesn't sound
so.
like the oh jeez. That doesn't sound like the right name. That is the right name.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to add a little bit extra into my my closing. So are you ready for me to close this pop stand?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, go get yourself a library card. Write a thank you note to a librarian or to a library and just tell them that you appreciate what they do. That is my plea for you. Just as a side note, that the legislative session in the state of Iowa is done. The legislation that was against libraries has died,
Nice.
and we are glad. But they're also coming after us, as you've probably heard, on the federal level. So there are a lot of libraries that are going to have to cut a lot of services, and it's a hard time to be a librarian when we're trying to figure out how to make do with what we have. So
Yeah.
it's just not the best. People are very stressed out, and just a little bit of appreciation would go a really long way. And getting a library card is a great way to support your library, and it doesn't cost you anything. So
Hmm.
get a library card, check out a few items, tell a librarian that you appreciate her or him or them, and maybe write a little note. Have your kids color a picture. We love that. We
Yeah.
hang them up. I don't know.
And
It just would be a really lovely gesture if you have just a few minutes. I think it's a nice way to really make a difference for somebody. So,
yeah.
so please do that. Support your local library and call your mom.
Yeah. And if you like movies, check out movies at your library. They're
That's
free, and
right.
usually they're pretty good.
Yes, and some libraries have DVDs, which you guys, I thought when I first started working at the library, I was like, why do they even have DVDs? Nobody watches DVDs. It is one of our highest circulating items. You
Oh,
would
yeah.
not, you would not expect that. But there are a lot of people that can't afford to stream. You know, it's expensive to not only have internet connection, but also the subscriptions to the things that you can stream. So there are
Yeah.
still a lot of people that are watching physical media. And so if you are looking for maybe working girl, maybe you don't want to spend the $3.99 to rent it this week, but you could go to your library and see if they have it, and you could watch it along with us, and then watch the podcast next week, or listen to the podcast next week,
Exactly.
and we can enjoy it together. But yes, libraries, they have that, and some libraries also have a service called Hoopla.
Yeah.
Uh, Hoopla and, oh boy, I can't remember the
Canopy.
name of the other one. Thank you. Canopy and Hoopla. That those may be things that might be cut with the federal funding issue.
Mhm.
But as of right now, you should have accessibility. I don't know, you guys. It's kind of dicey around here, but I will just say that if they don't have streaming available, they will have physical copies for you.
Yeah.
So go to your library, support them, check things out. That helps with funding for us and
Hmm.
also really helps with morale. So thank you for
Absolutely.
listening to me talk about that again. I just am so passionate about my work, and I just want librarians to know that they're appreciated. So it would mean
Absolutely.
a lot if you would do that. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for letting me do this at the end of every one of these.
I'm not letting you do
Oh,
anything. I stand behind it.
yeah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
We do good things.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. So again, support your local library, get a card, write a thank you note, and call your mom.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.